Yes, that was Barbara Barron there with some, Thursday morning motivation for you just to spur you into the day. Basically, do not base your actions on your feelings, but, once you take the action, your feelings will follow suit. You probably feel better about it afterwards. All right, with that, we move straight into the conversation today here on TOS TV Network, your digital first Pan-African TV network. And as always, we're reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital city. You already know the conversation promises to be very, very insightful and engaging. We actually have an interesting topic here for you today. My name is Adesuwa Osui.
And my name is Merciful Ajinimo. Good morning. Good morning, Adesuwa.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm fine.
Very well. So we move straight into the stories as our development across Africa. And we'll be starting from this very, I don't know how to call it now, news from Democratic Republic of Congo. It says 120 people have died from an outbreak of meningitis in the northeastern region of the Democratic Republic of Congo, the World Health Organization disclosed. The first cases from the disease were reported in July.
I'll move over to Morocco, where preliminary results show Liberals win most seats in Morocco's parliamentary election. Preliminary results on Thursday from Morocco's parliamentary election show that Liberal RNI party has won most seats in the country's, followed by another Liberal party, that's PAM, while co-ruling moderate PJD Islamist suffered a crushing defeat. RNI candidate and Bologna Agriculture Minister Aziz Akanouch took 97 of the 395 seat parliament, followed by PAM with 82 seats, and the Conservative Istiklal with 78 seats.
Moving away from that to latest development in Guinea following the coup that happened on Sunday. So the Economic Community of West African States, that's ECOWAS, has suspended Guinea's membership in the bloc on Wednesday and called on the West African nation to return to normal constitutional order after a military coup this past weekend that deposed President Alpha Conde.
I do hope they move into a normal constitutional order as soon as possible. We talk about COVID-19 right now. That South Africa postpones municipal election to allow more COVID vaccinations. South Africa's set October 27, that's for the municipal elections. They have been postponed to November 1st, right, to give more time for COVID-19 vaccination. The Electoral Commission, IEC, had suggested postponing the polls to early 2022 because it would be hard to organize a fair vote with the pandemic. But the Constitutional Court dismissed the move on Tuesday by ordering that they be held by November 1st.
Yeah, I do not know about organizing a fair election, with the pandemic. But I do know that people will have to come out, to vote and all of that. And if there's a scare that people might get infected with
it will not be successful.
Yes, it might not
because
be successful.
A successful election is a free and fair where everyone majority participate. And if we're having people, doubting, shall we do it? Are we safe? Then it's not going to be successful.
And then we cannot have people come out and mass to vote, and then we have spike in the number of COVID cases. So South Africa is, I think, way ahead of most African countries with vaccination.
Yes, vaccination.
So I think over half of the country's population have already been vaccinated. So just having more people get vaccinated so they can have herd immunity against it. And talking about having herd immunity against COVID and vaccination, we're going to bring you a COVID-19 update from across Africa right now. And after that, we will be bringing you the big story.
TOS TV Network mobile app is now available. You can now catch up on our breaking news, stream our programs live, watch out for the latest update on sports and politics as they unfold. You can also get notifications for our upcoming programs and events. All these on our TOS TV Network mobile app, available on Apple Store and Google Play Store. TOS TV News from Africa by Africans.
You're still on the conversation, showing on your digital first Pan-African news network, TOS Television. And as always, I would say you can be a part of our social media community. Follow us across all our social media platforms displayed on your screen at TOS TV Network on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and of course our website is www.tostvnetwork.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube page. It is the big story, the crux of the conversation, and just this morning we talk about suicide prevention and awareness. Joining us on the show this morning is a psychologist, Jephthah Temona. You're welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
How are you
Okay, I'm fine. We do know that the month of September, has been regarded as Suicide Prevention Month and awareness as well. With tomorrow, the 10th of September, as the World Suicide Prevention Day. Tell us, what is the essence of all of this commemoration?
Well, to start off the conversation, I'd like to say that suicide is quite common in our society, but it's frowned upon, which is why days like this, a month like this, because the entire month is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. So creating this awareness starts up the conversation of what suicide is, who is affected by suicide, those who have suicide ideation, that they think about killing themselves and all that. So having this conversation makes it easier, makes it more friendly, a more friendly conversation. So people don't just suffer or commit suicide and you're wondering, oh, what happened? You actually get to know what causes suicide and how you can prevent it from happening. So it's a very important day.
Okay. I do know that in a climate like Nigeria, there's a lot of misconception around the suicide thing. A lot of persons will even say that, why would you even kill yourself? Like, you can just talk to somebody. But there's a lot that people don't know that goes on in the mind of whoever is suicidal. Can you tell us some of the misconception, and then you could just debunk it for us?
Okay, one of the most popular misconceptions is that men don't kill themselves. Like a hard guy, you can take anything. And in our community is quite common. But statistics have shown that men actually do commit suicide more than women. Women might attempt it more, but for men it's more fatalistic. They go through with their plans. So this is one misconception that people should actually look into, because it's not that. And then another misconception is that suicide can't happen to me. Like, for example, people say it can't happen to me, or it can't happen to their family members. But that isn't always the case. It can happen to anyone, and for some people we might fail to see the warning signs. There are different behavioral or speech warning signs. Someone can just start talking about how he wants to kill himself, writing poetry about death and all that. But for other people, they expect that there should be like a suicide note too. That's another misconception. Suicide note, and that's not always the case. Some people don't have time to pen down a note. They just want to ease that pain for them. That's what they feel like, and that's a negative way to think.
Yeah, we also do know, talking about social media and, people penning out things, and Twitter, Facebook, when you come out and see all of those notes and people say, look, I think I'm suicidal, I'm tired of life and everything. How do we connect all of this to mental health, right? How does someone move from that state of saying, look, I'm tired, or saying, look, I don't think I can ever commit suicide, from now going to that state and saying, look, I'm tired of everything? How does that happen?
It's a progression from saying, oh, look, I'm tired, I want to kill myself, I'm not okay with this life. How do people around that person respond? It's a cry for help. They need people's attention, they need love, they need professional care too. So how do people react? On social media, you can say you are suicidal, and then you discover that people are dragging you all over the place. They are saying, how are you like this? Or for example, if you are rich and you are saying you want to commit suicide, people say, how? You get all this money, all these little things they just tweet, and it actually eats at the person. And before you know, the mental health keeps going down lower, and before you know, from suicide ideation, there's active and passive suicide ideation. So the active is when you actually make an attempt. You have your ideas all lined up, your plan, and then you go through with it.
Okay. I want your perspective as a psychologist in this one. I don't know, you mentioned, people saying a rich person cannot be suicidal. But I do know that there's also the misconception that you have to be like visibly sad or depressed to actually get to that point. Because I know that I've met lots of bubbly, seemingly happy people that are very, very suicidal, and then some have actually gone through with it. And I know that lots of, we've seen celebrities who seem as though they have everything, and they still got to that point where they had to take their own lives. So how you might not necessarily recognize somebody that is suicidal, right? But how does one person get to, what do you think plays out in the mind of a suicidal person, and how can you as a person be there for someone that is suicidal?
Okay, there are certain risk factors for people to consider suicide, which doesn't really matter if you are rich or poor sometimes, or a celebrity. There are triggers, for example. For celebrity, like for me personally, my favorite musician, he died by suicide. And what happened? It was the day his own best friend died. That was his trigger. So some people, there are days in a month or events that just trigger them, and then they feel like, this is it, there's no more. And there are history of rape, verbal abuse, physical abuse, and other forms of abuse, and also mental illness. So when all these underlying risk factors already exist in someone's life, you discover that the person starts moving towards the path of suicide. He starts thinking about it, and then probably carries out an attempt.
So yes, there's been talks on how reachable, you know, psychologists are, or
And
professional people,
affordability.
and affordable. Yes.
Yes.
When I talk about accessibility, I mean, everything. How can you reach them and everything? So we see a large number of people come out. Like I see it every time. It has become a thing where, you know, people say, oh look, I think I'm tired on, like we just downplay it. But how accessible do you think people can get? Because, you know, you're coming from a field, and yes, you should be able to talk on that. Like how can people easily just say, oh, I think I'm having this suicidal attempt or thought, and I need to meet somebody. What's the next step?
Okay, the next step is to talk to someone closest to you first. These days, you never know what the next person knows about certain things. There's social media. You can go on social media and come across different mental health groups. Like the organization I work with now, we're trying to promote mental health awareness, not just with older individuals, but also from children, from the secondary schools, because we've discovered that these suicidal thoughts, for example, and other mental illnesses don't just start up. They start from a certain stage most times. So in curbing the problem from the start, it makes it easier to prevent any future disaster, something like that. So, and many people don't realize that these services are there because they're afraid of what if they come out and speak out about it? How will people see me? But I would like to say that these services are there. There are organizations that are into mental health awareness, counseling, and other kinds of support group and life skills coaching. So it's easy to reach out to them, and as most psychologists tell you when you're with them, it's a safe space.
Okay.
They're professionals that wouldn't divulge your information to other people, so you can feel so free to express yourself. And professionally, I would say that going to therapy, even if you don't think you have a mental issue, is a very good idea.
All right.
Just like a checkup, where you go to the hospital most times.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Hope it's not too late to say, or not too early to say Happy World Suicide Awareness and Prevention Day, because it's tomorrow, right?
Okay.
Yes, tomorrow, but it's
we
never.
can
It's
say
never.
Yeah,
never
thank
too
you
early.
so much for coming on the show
Thank
with
you
us.
very
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, viewers, for staying tuned to the conversation. It's been a wonderful one. As always, you can be a part of our social media community. Follow us across all our social media platforms at TOS TV Network. Thank you again. I am Merciful Ajinomo.
And I'm Ajay Suwalsi. Please remember to stay safe, and please remember to be empathetic towards, you know, depressed and sad people, because I know they do not think the way that we think. Thank you again, and we'll see you tomorrow.